All right, hi kids. All right, so now that we've learned the volume formulas for common 3D shapes, we're gonna now actually use them. So this is example time. Ooh, let's go back to this. Ay caramba, I gotta remember to do this. In our notes for volume, remember, let's make sure that volume, we're dealing with 3 dimensions now, so we always need to use units to the third. Volume is units to the third, okay? Units to the third, units cubed. Woohoo, let's make sure we have that. I was really good about with that with area with you guys, that every time you say units squared for area, but volume is units cubed because you're dealing with 3 dimension, lengths with height, okay? So let's do a cubes. To start, we're gonna follow the exact order that we took the notes in, just so not to confuse you. So if I told you to find the area of this cube, and it was 8 centimeters, and I wanted you to find the volume of this cube. Okay, so if I go to the formula for volume of a cube, it says volume is the length to the third. So I replace my 8 for length in for length, because if 8 is my length, I plug that in, I substitute it there. So my volume is 8 to the third. Okay, if you don't have a calculator, you can do this by hand. 8 to the third is just saying 8 times itself 3 times. Now stop, don't think it's 24. We're way past that. We know this, okay? We know 8 times 8 is 64. 64 times 8. Oh, that's blah, 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 blah. I don't know that by heart. You don't need to know that by heart. But guess what? We've worked on long multiplication a lot. So I'm just going to come over here and do 64 times 8. Again, you can use a calculator. I'm not saying you can't, just I want to do this right now. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 3 is 51. So 512 is my volume. But then I need to add my units back. It's centimeters cubed. So my volume of that cylinder is 512 centimeters cubed. I took the length times itself 3 times because it's the area of the base, length times height, which is also length. So length times length times length. Okay. Next, let's do a rectangular prism. Okay, we just did a cube. Now we're going to do a rectangular prism. So this is just examples. Okay, the next one, rectangular prism. Let's go ahead and draw it. Okay, let's say this is 5, this is 4, and this is 7. Well, we'll call it feet. Okay, so it asks me what's the volume. Well, if I look at my formula, it's the area of the base. So length times width times how tall it is. Now, what's really cool about this is it doesn't matter what you plug in for what, because it doesn't matter in multiplication if you switch around the orders. So you don't need to get too tricked up of which one's length, which one's width, which one's height. Now, I'm not saying that you don't need to pay attention to it in the future, because sometimes it might ask you, how tall can you fill this with popcorn? Or it might ask you something that's very specific to where the base is. But in this situation, it doesn't matter, because we know that order isn't, it doesn't matter when you multiply if all you have left is multiplication. But I'm going to go ahead and replace length, we'll say is 5. Width, we'll say is 7. And the height, how tall it is, we'll say is 4. So area of the base times the height, length times width for the area of the rectangle times how tall it is. So that is going to be, okay. So it's going to be